Hello again, loved ones. This is Matt Stevens, and I hope you're doing super fantastic as always. And we talk about nature of reality a lot, and I think it's very important. I think it's very important that we understand that, especially those of us who are in the process of awakening. Now, to those who are not in the process of awakening, I guess it doesn't make any difference, right? It just doesn't. To them, reality is what they observe with their five senses. But we have kind of gotten past that, I believe, I hope, right? Because if our five senses are is all there is, well, that's it's kind of boring. However, we know there is more than that. We know that just by looking at the light spectrum, just by looking at it and being like, okay, what we as humans, what our these avatars are able to observe physically, is but a tiny fraction of the entire light spectrum. It's called, it's what we call the visible light spectrum. But this world is absolutely not what we've been told, what we've been led to believe. We came into this experience, I believe, voluntarily. That part we can debate. I mean, well, we can debate any of it, I suppose, dear loved one, but I believe we came into this experience voluntarily for the purpose of gaining experience, for the purpose of learning, for the purpose of lots of things, for the purpose of awakening. And it's like, well, if you're an awakened immortal soul on the outside of this, what would be the purpose of that? Why would we subject ourselves to that? It's like, well, I guess just for the experience. I mean, and it really can be just that. I know that some people would like to ascribe some much deeper metaphysical type of meaning to it or whatever. And in this experience, that's fine. But outside of this, it's like, yeah, it can really just be because of existence. Because we exist. I am, therefore I exist. I am thinking, I am mind, all of those things. And when we have that realization, it's like, well, what can we do? I've realized I'm a conscious being. I've realized that consciousness exists and that mind is there. So now what? What do we do now? What do we do with this? And by we, I mean I, because we are all emanating from the same source. We are all this illusion of separation between you and me and everybody else, that is just an illusion. We are emanating from the source. We are emanating from the consciousness field, or God. We are emanating from that. And we have subjected ourselves to this experience, this what we call physical world. Of course, if you were in a different experience besides this, I got to believe that that's what you would call physical. And we know that because a lot of out-of-body experiencers or people who just astral project or whatever will tell you that when you're in that state, it is just as real there, and in some cases more so, than this is here. It's like that doesn't seem very etheric and how we would imagine it to be. It's very real. It's just as solid and real as this is. And some people find that hard to fathom. They're like, if I were in the astral or in the ether, it would seem very etheric. Hello. Well, based on what we have been told, based on my own experiences, that's not really true. It is very real there when you're there. Anyway, but this world that we have injected ourselves into, this world that we have incarnated in, I believe it is like a mirror. And I got calamine lotion. I've got some poison ivy. Yeah. So anyway, hey, by the way, dear loved one, since we're on the subject, because we're not, if you would please hit the like button, I would appreciate that. If you have not yet subscribed, please do that. I would really appreciate it. But this world that we have subjected ourselves into or incarnated in, I believe it is a mirror image of a real world. of a world that is on the outside. And that kind of goes along with what the Gnostics believe, that the demiurge created this world out of. He saw a reflection of the heavens in a pool of water and modeled this after that. But of course, we know a mirror image is like a negative. It's a flipped version, right? Now, does that mean anything? I think it does. I think there is something to that. What that could be, I'm not entirely sure. But I do know that there is some of that there. So this world is not what we've been told, though. What we've been told, I don't have to get into it with you. We've been told that it is a planet that's been here for so many billions of years in a solar system that was created in this galaxy, in the universe that was birthed from the Big Bang 14 billion years ago, or whatever the number is these days. We have been told all of that, and that we live on this tiny little rock, right? The pale blue dot. We live on this tiny little rock that's very just small and insignificant, just floating out in the ether, just floating out there in the nothing, the vastness of nothing, and that there are trillions of other galaxies, just like this one that would take us 100,000 years, traveling at the speed of light to traverse. They use these gigantic numbers, and they make this seem like this is just very much an accident. This cosmic accident, this world that we have found ourselves in, having an experience, a very brief experience at that. And that once we have completed this experience, we'll just, I guess, blend back into the whatever. They tell us that we are born of stardust, that exploding stars created what goes into, and I didn't mute my phone, but exploding stars is what creates everything. Your body is made out of stardust. It's like, wow, that's really, that sounds so cool, doesn't it? That sounds really etheric. It sounds so deep and metaphysical. But it also falls right in line with the whole small and insignificant. We are small and insignificant, and a star exploded billions of years ago, creating whatever that eventually ended up the atoms that make up this planet, which eventually ended up being the atoms that make up your avatar. Now, part of that I'll agree with. I'll agree that, the atoms that make up your avatar do come from this construct. And they are part of this construct. You are not. You are plugged in. You're jacked into here through your antenna, your radio receiver that's in your brain. The brain being the processor that processes the information that is gathered from your five senses, processes it and transmits it out. What I'm experiencing currently, what am I looking at, what am I feeling, what am I tasting, all of those. And it's broadcasting that through your third eye, your pineal gland, whatever, out to your true self, which is in the formless, shapeless mind. And it is gathering that. It's gathering these whatever we're learning, whatever we're gleaning from this experience. But now your avatar is unaware that there is something attached to it, much like in a video game. The video game analogy, I know a lot of people don't like it. It makes them a little uncomfortable to think that maybe we would be like a character in a video game. But it's like, well, that's not really, it shouldn't make you feel small and insignificant. In fact, it should make you realize that you are mind. And as I said before, you are emanating from the source. But you have plugged yourself into this avatar for the purpose of having an experience, for the purpose of experiencing this construct. Because to experience this construct, you must have an avatar inside of this construct, inside of this creation. If you want to go there, we can go there. That's fine. But we are immortal souls plugged into your avatar. So this avatar is not your identity. It's your identity while you're in this incarnation. It's your identity while you're here in this lifetime. But it's not who you are. You are so much bigger than that. And I'm not saying that there is no personality from the outside coming through. Because even when we're using the video game analogy, if you realize, like if we're playing a video game and you're playing a character, say it's a pre-made character, and you're playing this pre-made character and I'm playing this pre-made character, and both of our games are still going to, even though it's the same avatar, same pre-made character, our personal little touch, I guess, is going to shine through in each of the two different games. It's not going to be identical. So we do still have some personality, but that is also ego. And I know that a lot of people in the metaphysical and the new age community really like to poo-poo ego. They want to have ego death. They want to get rid of their ego. It's like, well, you're not going to do that. I mean, you can make it so that it's like, well, I want it to be less about me and more about the experience, or more about helping others. All right, make it more about others. That's beautiful. But you're never going to completely get rid of your personality, your ego, your version of self in this. But I just want you to understand, dear loved one, this version of self, that's not all that you are. That's not who you are. That is a character you're playing in this realm. But this construct has been hijacked. That's where we can get into. The cat is doing his thing. So anyway, this construct has been hijacked. That's where we can get into some things, get in some areas that a lot of people aren't real comfortable talking about. For example, now the agnostics, they love talking about it. I mean, they do. They believe that this construct not only has it been hijacked, but it was created for the purpose of. So it wasn't even hijacked. It was like, I guess we were hijacked and inserted into this construct, and now we've got to find our way out. All right. I believe there's a lot of truth in that. And maybe not necessarily that the demiurge created this. I'm not opposed to it. I'm just not completely sold on that idea either. But just imagine an observer. Just imagine an indifferent, impartial observer. Curious and very interested, but just observing, just passively observing. And this observer is also monitoring many different vantage points. It's monitoring vantage point from here, from there, from lots of different vantage points. And one of those vantage points is you, dear loved one, is your avatar, your whoever you are in this world. In this case, it's Matt Stevens. But this observer is observing from this vantage point. Now, this avatar does have hopes and dreams and aspirations and all of that, because it is very complex. And can I lean into that observer? Can I say, hey, you on the outside looking in, lend me a hand here? Yeah, I can. Once we learn to make that connection with that higher version of self. But that's a whole other video. But this observer, it happens to be you. And it is observing this experience through your eyes, through your avatar, through your five senses. And some people are like, well, this isn't a very fun one to observe. Well, it's like, well, they're not all going to be fun. But lean into that higher version of self. Say, hey, dude. I know that sounds dumb. But like, I know that I can make this whatever I want it to experience. So Again, that's a whole other video. I'm not even going to get into that. In fact, dear loved one, let's cut it off now. So, anyway, but yes, let me know in the comments what you think of this. I do want to get into the hijacking of the construct, whether or not it is a louche farm. For those of you who are familiar with Robert Monroe and his books, is it a louche farm? Is it some kind of, do we generate energy, like low vibrational energy that the archons feed on? Is that true? Or is it merely that this is the experience that we are currently having, and it just, all experiences will be had, and it's just a roll. It's just how the cards fell, that this one is the one that you have now. So anyway, dear loved ones, yes, please let me know what you think. Please hit the like button if you have not. Please subscribe if you have not. Besides that, that's what I got for you. I promise you I do love you. I really do. And I will be back directly.